Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. I'm Zeenat Musafa.
And I'm Kumar Sangha. Today we saw the Alpetia local government elections being held. Still, we await for the results of the elections. As we await, let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Alpetia local government election concludes peacefully. Results to be released tonight. Sajid Premadasa says foreign agreements must be assessed scientifically. Mahinda Rajapaksa says government did not serve the people as they spent time on exacting revenge. Dilan and SB divided on Hizbullah. Tilanga's opinion on the response to Duminda at the rally in Anuradhapura. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed wins the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize.
The Alpetia local government election was held today and the casting of votes ended at 4 this evening. The votes are currently being counted at the counting centres.
The casting of votes for the Alpetia Pradesh Sabha elections in the Galle district commenced at 7 this morning and was held at 47 polling stations. 53,384 registered voters were eligible to vote at the elections. According to our correspondent, voters of the local government were enthusiastic to cast their ballot since this morning. 115 candidates from 5 recognized political parties contest the elections for 28 seats at the Pradesh Sabha. The final results will be released from the main election centre set up at the Alpetia Vocational Training Centre. We believe that over 70% of the eligible voters have exercised their right to vote. But we can exactly clarify if it is 78% or 75% after counting the votes in the ballot boxes. Sometimes it could be more than 70%. We think we can release the results of all the electorates in the district before 10 tonight. I would like to state the election was held in a very peaceful environment. There was one arrest that was reported. This was a vehicle transporting people to the polling station in an illegal manner. The suspect was released on a police bail. The security that is provided to the polling stations will continue until the counting concludes. The barricades will be in place. The Alpetia Vocational Training Centre is being provided security and an ASP is being assigned there.
උපරිම පොලිස් ආරක්ෂාවක් යොදවලා තිබෙන්නේ.
Sajit Premadasa, the presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, addressed the convention of the National Sangha Committee this afternoon.
The National Maha Sangha conference was held at the National Youth Services Council premises in Maharagama today. A 10-step proposal was presented to presidential candidate Sajit Premadasa by the Maha Sangha at the event.
We are prepared to launch an important program that will ensure sovereignty, integrity, security, which will unite all the communities across the island. We are ready to build a country filled with grandeur and immense strength that will preserve the unitary state of the country, that will utilize the strength we receive from that unity. By protecting the level of priority given to Buddhism and the Sambuddha Sasana by the Constitution, we are ready to take a step further and put it to practice through practical, religious and developmental means.
There are diversified identities amidst the number of communities and the religious groups that exist in the country. While we ensure the safety of all that, we pledge to ensure that no constitutional amendment will be done to bring forth any harm to the unitary state of the country. We make that pledge before you as a group of people who prevented some groups who tried to fracture the unitary state of our country by joining foreign forces.
Meanwhile, presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajit Premadasa, met with university professionals today.
The event was held under the title A New Leadership, A New Sri Lanka at the Foundation Institute. The meeting was attended by a group including university professors.
When this government took over, the intake of students in universities was at 24,198. But under the plan for 2018-2019, this number was increased to 31,185. This is a 28% increase and it is an exponential development in university education. No other government had been able to achieve such a development in universities in the past. We can think about who has a better program for the development of this country. It is not enough to construct roads and lay concrete on the roads. We must give priority to the development of human capital.
පාරවල් කොන්ක්‍රීට් කරාටම මදි. අපි මානව ප්‍රාග්ධනයට මුල් තැනක් දීලා කටයුතු කිරීම අත්‍යවශ්‍ය වෙනවා. ජාතික අවශ්‍යතාවය මුදුන්පත් කරගෙන
We hope to formulate policies to cater to the national needs of this country. International trade agreements are important. Political agreements are important. The relative advantage that these agreements bring towards our country is important. If there is no advantage that is accrued to our country, then that agreement is detrimental to our nation. In the recent past, agreements such as AXA, SOFA and MCC were the subject of public debate. When we are making these policy decisions, what should we actually do? We must consider the pros and cons of these agreements. All of this must be considered with the country at the center. We must leave personal preferences aside, because although it is one person who signs these agreements, the effects are felt by the entire country. When we are scientifically assessing these agreements, we must consult all stakeholders in that relevant field. We can easily conduct a cost-benefit analysis and clearly identify the pros and cons of it.
අපිට බොහොම පහසුවෙන් cost benefit analysis එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. වාසි අවාසි පිළිබඳව.
A meeting of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna party activists was held in Wilgoda, Kurunagala yesterday.
The meeting was chaired by leader of the SLPP, Mahinda Rajapaksa. Kurunagala district parliamentarians Johnston Fernando, Andra Priyadarshini, TB Ekanayaka and Tharanath Basnayaka attended the meeting.
There are 35 presidential candidates. They hope to divide the votes. Whose votes are they trying to break? They are breaking our votes. Today our party has fielded a candidate who loves the country, a candidate who can work for the country and a candidate who has shown that he can work for the country. We listened to the UNP meeting for a while. All they did was sling mud at us. I remember that they said all of these same stories back in 2015. They did not speak about what they did for the past 4.5 years. They did not speak about the central bank bond scam. They did not speak of how they removed the Chief Justice as they came into power, promising to protect democracy. This government was so devious that they imprisoned the secretary to the president, saying that he distributed silk cloth. This government will not protect state sector employees. Therefore, you cannot expect this government to protect you. Their only intention was to seek revenge. That is what they did. So they did not have time to do anything else. Today they have taken 24 billion rupees in loans. When we ask them what they did with that money, they say that they used it to pay off our loans. So that means that they have taken 3 times the value of the loan that I took to pay off the loan that I had taken. What happened to the rest? I present this argument. They simply make these statements at meetings to get some applause from the crowd. When they are asked, what did you do for the people, they say that they established democracy. So democracy is the only thing that they have given to the people. So during our time, there was no democracy. During our rule, we held elections, which is vital to sustain democracy. We worked during our time to make this country. We have a team that can work well. We have presented a talented candidate who can work well.
වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් රටක් හදන්න වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් කණ්ඩායමක් අපිත් එක්ක ඉන්නවා වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් දක්ෂයෙක් තමයි අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙන්නේ ගෝල් ෆේස් එක රැස්වීමක් තිබ්බා පරණ තැටි ආපහු දැම්මේ.
A meeting was held at Golface Green. They brought back the old frying pan. Champika and Rajitha are talking about the same things that they spoke of for the past 4.5 years. We would like to ask them what they did about it during the past 4.5 years. This is an inefficient government with inefficient leaders. They tried to attack and destroy talented people. We did not have a party. I remember Mahinda Rajapaksa asking us at the party leaders meeting to form a new party. Mahinda asked us to create a space for us, somewhere for us to fall. He is a far-sighted leader. If we did not have this party, where would we go? It has been clearly proved that Mahinda Rajapaksa is a clean and just leader. The most amount of women drove motorcycles during the rule of Mahinda Rajapaksa after he provided them with motorcycles. Mahinda Rajapaksa created an era where they could stand up on their own 2 feet. Mahinda Rajapaksa showed that a bag of fertilizer can be provided to the farmers at 350 rupees. He created Mahindayodaya laboratories for the children in rural villages. He built the country like this. Now it has been destroyed. So now we need a strong leader.
The office of the engineering front of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was declared open today.
The office was declared open by the national organizer of the party, Basil Rajapaksa, in Jayantipura, Battaramulla.
We are a
little envious when you mention about this office, because we were not given this office when we initially requested, but these people told me that they purchased this building the next day. Therefore, the stark difference between politicians and professionals are clearly seen.
Artificial Intelligence Management Dashboard. අන්න ඒකෙන් තමයි කොළඹ ඉඳන් පාලනය කරනවා සියලුම එක තැනකට අරගෙන කියලා.
අපි සතුටු වෙනවා. අපෙන් කොපි කරලා හරි ඒ කට්ටියත් ඒ වගේ තාක්ෂණය පාවිච්චි කරනවා.
ඔබතුමාලා සඳහන් කරන්නේ ඒ තාක්ෂණ ඔබතුමා මීට අවුරුදු 10කට ඉස්සර ගත්තා කියලා.
නෑ නෑ අපි අවුරුදු 3යි පක්ෂේ පිටවල.
මේ පක්ෂේ නෙමෙයි ඔබතුමා කලින් පක්ෂයක් තිබ්බනේ.
ඔව් ඒ කාලේ තියුන්නේ නෑනේ ඒකනේ අපි පෙරදුනේ.
As mentioned in your headlines, MPs S.B. Disanayak and Dilan Perera, who have pledged their support to the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, expressed their contrary views about MLA M. Hisbullah, who is contesting the presidential elections as an independent candidate.
If you look at the results of the previous presidential election in districts like Batiklo, a majority of the Muslim votes were cast in favor of the sworn. Hisbullah is a person who represents extremism. Hisbullah is a person who was chased from the position of governor by our leader, President Maithripala Sirisena. Kathankudi is the most populated location in Asia. The general public in Kathankudi will not vote for him, but extremists flock around Hisbullah. Those votes had gone to the sworn during the previous election. We have not put forward Hisbullah for this election. We are the people who chased Hisbullah away.
Douglas Devananda gatta chanda.
The people who vote for Douglas Devananda, Thondaman, Ataullah and Hisbullah will all vote for Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Hisbullah is contesting as a separate candidate. I spoke with Hisbullah. The way I see it, Hisbullah is not a person who was involved in a massive financial scam or a crime like Rishad Badurdin. He just got a lot of money from a foreign country and built a good university.
Now, responding to questions raised by journalists during a media briefing today, MP Thilanga Sumatipala had this to say.
අනුරාධපුරයේ මීටින් එකේදී දුමින්ද දිසානායක මහත්මයා අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න යද්දී හිටපු ජනතාවගෙන් ලොකු විරෝධතාවයක් ආවා. අනාගතයේ ඉදිරියේදී හැම දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ මේ මට්ටම ආව ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයට මොන වගේ ඊරණමක් අත්දෙයි?
නෑ ඒ ජන ഘോഷාව තමුන්නාන්සට ඇහෙන්නේ වෙන විදියකට. ඒ තුමාව පිළිගත්තේ හරසරේ. රජරට ජනතාව එහෙම තමයි පිළිගන්නේ. හොඳයි බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
Following are several opinions which were expressed on the political stage as elections approach.
It is not a lie that supporters of Sajit Premadasa paraded Colombo covering every corner. During the past few days, people in our electorates, villages and districts did not show much interest. But now, even we are mesmerized to see how people volunteered and attended the rally. I believe that this is the reality in the country. We see the meeting at Golface Green as one where the whole country came to one place. The meeting in Anuradhapura is not the same. In Anuradhapura, the farmers, they volunteered to attend the meeting and most of them arrived on foot. That is how the rally in Anuradhapura became a success. The Flowerbud Party probably thought about defeat when they saw the rally at Golface Green. Now to cover their defeat, they are talking about the LPTA election. I would like to clearly state that I will no longer attend any media discussions until the elections if we don't exceed 55% at the Alpitia elections. I am that sure that the people in Alpitia will give that message to the country. This is a contest to choose Miss World, not the Aurudu Kumari from the village. We are not much concerned about the numbers in this village. This is a leftist electorate. If they dream that they can win the election by obtaining this small fraction, we are happy about that. We saw the same enthusiasm before the 8th of January in 2015. On the 18th of November, Gotabaya Rajapaksa will become president and we will cut 2 cakes. One cake for Gotabaya Rajapaksa becoming president and the second one on the 18th of November for the Prime Minister of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Mahinda Rajapaksa, and also for his birthday. We will cut this cake for his birthday, and his birthday gift will be taking oaths in front of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa as the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. Yesterday, the SLFP and the SLPP united. The Bandaranaike family was obliterated by the Rajapaksa family. That is all that happened. Just because Sajid Premadasa became the candidate, the UNP Prime Minister, the ministers who are responsible for the collapse of the economy in the recent past will not be changed. They will remain. The same team will go forward to rule the country. Both teams should carry the blame for the collapsed economy and the current state of the country.
The Maha Sangha summit, organized by the National People's Power Movement, was held in Kandy today.
The event was organized to obtain the blessings of the Maha Sangha for the party's presidential candidate Anura Kumara Disanayaka.
අපේ මව්බිමට පළමුවත් දෙවනුවත් තෙවනුවත් නෙවෙයි අපිට ලක්ෂවතා ලක්ෂයට යනකම් කියන්න පුළුවන් මව්බිම කියලා එහෙම කිව්ව කළ මව්බිම රැකෙන්නේ.
Even if one says that their motherland is important to them 100,000 times, that does not mean the country will be protected. We can kiss this country from Dondarhead to Point Pedro, but that will not ensure the security of the country. What does the security of a country depend on? Especially at this time, at about 10 years from now, our country will not face a foreign military invasion. Those countries do not have to invade our country like that. The method used by imperialists to conquer countries has changed. In the past, they conquered countries using cannons, but now they conquer countries using briefcases. Patriotism means understanding this new phase of foreign invasion and making a decision as to if we will bow down to it or not. First, we must ensure the sovereignty of our economy. Now, $10 billion is not enough to import goods and pay off loans. So we must obtain a loan of $6 billion from somewhere to pay off our loans and to import goods. So is the sovereignty of the country's economy protected? If we have to take loans to buy our food and get more loans to pay off those loans, can we call ourselves the owners of a sovereign motherland? What happens when we go to get those loans? They impose various conditions on us. The Chinese say, we will give you a loan, but we want the southern terminal of the Colombo port. So we give it to them. We go to India and ask them for a loan. They say, we will give you the loan, but you gave a piece of your port to the Chinese and another part to another country. We want the remainder of the port. The eastern terminal, they gave it off recently after signing an agreement. What has happened? We ask for loans from the United States. They say, we will give you loans, but we want land. Sometimes these embassies choose the presidential candidates. They sometimes choose the leaders of the parties.
නයනොට අපි ණය දෙන්න හැබැයි අපිට ඉඩම් ඕනේ. සමහර ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකව තීරණය කරන්න මේ එම්බසිස්. පක්ෂවල නායක තීරණය කරන්න තානාපති කාර්යාලය.
We're crossing over for a short commercial break. Do stay tuned for more news.
ආත්ම ශක්තිය කැපවීම උනන්දුව පමණක් උරුම කරගත් රටේ අනාගතය අලුතින් ලියන්නට සැරසෙන අපි දූපුතුන්ගේ වර්ණවත් සංඥාව අභිමන් වරම් කුසලතා පරපුරක අභිෂේකය අභිමන් වරම්
ප්‍රධාන අනුග්‍රහය
ඇංක කිරි එදත් අදත් හෙටත් හොඳම දේ පමණයි
Welcome back to the news. Presidential candidate of the Jathika Sangwardana Peramuna, Dr. Rohan Palitha, held his maiden campaign rally at the Sugadadasa Indoor Stadium today.
The rally was attended by former Auditor General Sarath Maya Dunne, veteran journalist Victor Ivan and Naga Nanda Kodituaku. Under the current situation, to maintain the economy, we need at least $10 billion during a period of 12 months. During the past months, after touring many countries, we have been able to find $4 billion for this country. I got an invitation to deliver the main address at an event where the Tamil and Sinhalese diaspora were meeting in England. After speaking for about 2 hours, they said that they are ready to go to Geneva with us and tell them that there are no charges against Sri Lanka. Therefore, I make a promise to this country. If I am given this responsibility, I have the capability to remove all charges against Sri Lanka in Geneva within 3 months. I proudly state that I am the highest taxpayer among the presidential candidates contesting the election. I am also the candidate who brings in the highest amount of foreign revenue into the country among all of these candidates. Also, I fearlessly state that I am the person who has provided the most amount of job opportunities in this country from among all of these candidates. There are 3 generals who have come into the field representing the alternative forces. I am ready to hold discussions with them and make the sacrifice of the century to achieve the aspirations of the people. It was always my aspiration to present one candidate to the people to represent the alternative force. I still have that same aspiration. I hope that we will be able to hold discussions and select one candidate out of the 3 candidates representing the alternative within this time frame. I promise that I will take all the necessary steps to achieve that for the people. Through presenting one candidate representing the alternative, we hope to show the strength of the alternative forces to the country and show the people who love the country that we can move towards change and to create the base for the general election in the future.
කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ රටට ආදරේ පිරිසක් ඊළඟ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට යවන්න අවශ්‍ය පදනම හදාගන්නයි අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
ඇත්තටම මේක
Honestly, my personal opinion is that the system in Sri Lanka is not one where you can contest and win. Wise people cannot get a lot of votes, but stupid people can get a lot of votes. That is the reality. The constitution has been abused by every government that was in power, by politicians, and even by the judiciary to an extent that now we do not have a constitution anymore. We only have a constitution in a basket. No matter which king comes into power, we cannot move forward without first amending the constitution. The country must move towards formulating a constitution that vests more power in the people and not a constitution that is formulated according to the whims and fancies of the politicians.
විවස්ථා සම්පාදනයකට රට යොමු විය යුතුයි යොමු කළ යුතුයි.
The Supreme Court today extended the order preventing the examination of evidence in a case filed against Gotabaya Rajapaksa and several other defendants to the 20th of December.
The case was filed by the Attorney General at the Permanent High Court trial at Bar on the charges of criminal misappropriation of 33.9 million rupees for the construction of the D.A. Rajapaksa Memorial and Museum. An appeal filed by Gotabaya Rajapaksa was taken up today by Supreme Court Justices Buanekalu Vihare, Murthu Fernando and Gamini Amrasekara. The 3-judge bench extended the order preventing the examination of evidence until the 20th of December.
Parliamentarian Charles Nirmalanathan, making a statement, said that discussions were held between presidential candidate of the SLPP Gotabaya Rajapaksa and TNA parliamentarian M.A. Sumanthiran. The following views were expressed at a media briefing convened on that topic.
There were reports that the Tamil National Alliance is due to hold discussions with Gotabaya Rajapaksa. It was reported that we have requested a time from Gotabaya Rajapaksa to hold these discussions. It was said that the matters pertaining to the national issue will be taken up for discussion with Mahinda Rajapaksa, and we are ready to hold talks with Gotabaya Rajapaksa after holding discussions with Mahinda Rajapaksa. We don't understand how fair it is to hold discussions with Gotabaya Rajapaksa. There is no conflict of perspectives when it comes to claiming that Gotabaya is a war criminal. What we think is these people should be produced before the international courts and punished. If you say that they talk to us now, what do you have to say about the statements they made so far? Our people should think about this in an in-depth manner.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General pointed out that the Constitutional Council has no power to appoint a person to a position of the Director at the Elections Commission in the capacity of an acting official. He made this observation when the Constitutional Council convened in Parliament yesterday.
The chairman of the Elections Commission was summoned to the Constitutional Council meeting last morning to discuss on the appointment of an acting director to the Elections Commission. The Constitutional Council was of the opinion that the Council should not recommend anyone to the position of acting director of the Elections Commission. Thereby, the opinion of the Attorney General was also sought in this regard. Meanwhile, although the consideration of the appointment of Western Province Civil Court of Appeal Judge Manilal Vaidyathilaka to the Court of Appeal was said to be taken up yesterday, it was not considered. Attorney at Law Lakshmi Menaka Minuja Vikrama, who was recommended by the President for this position previously, was unanimously rejected by the Constitutional Council.
Techno Sri Lanka 2019, the National Engineering Technology Exhibition, commenced at BMICH today.
President Maithripala Sirisena declared the exhibition open today. The exhibition is to be held for 3 days at the BMICH under the theme of Innovative Engineering towards a Sustainable Sri Lanka. This is the largest and only engineering exhibition in Sri Lanka, which was organized by the Sri Lanka Institute of Engineering. Chairman of Sri Lanka Telecom Kumar Singh Sirisena and Sri Lanka Engineering Institute Chairman Professor T.M. Pallewatha were also present.
The central bank convened a media briefing today to announce the 6th monetary policy review for 2019.
During the event, Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, said inflation in the short term is expected to increase due to the increase in food inflation. The governor also hinted at the possibility of the government issuing 10-year samurai bonds equivalent to $500 million or 60 billion yen in November. Responding to questions regarding the central bank's proposal to introduce new regulations to restrict cross-holdings among banks, the governor expressed the following views.
My understanding is these are all being reviewed. As part of the new Banking Act, we are looking at ownership limits, we are looking at cross-holdings, etc. And I don't think we've come to a final conclusion yet, but it is being reviewed.
10% that ceiling, I think we may have to continue for some time, otherwise capital structure will be affected.
Journalists also raised questions regarding the forensic audit that are currently underway.
The timelines for their completion are sort of end of this month, middle of November. So sometime around the third or fourth week of November, they should all be completed. Not all, there are altogether 6. One of them, which came out of certain court proceedings, or at least it was expanded, the scope was expanded out of a court proceeding. That one, we still haven't done the procurement. But the other 5 will be completed.
අධිපතිතුමා කලින් අහපු ප්‍රශ්නෙට forensics audits සම්පූර්ණ කරයින් පස්සේ ක්‍රියාවලිය මොකක්ද ඒක මහ ජනතාවට කියනවාද කොච්චර පාඩු සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවද එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒවා නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන ආයතන වලට බාර දෙනවද ඔඩිට් එකේ ප්‍රතිඵලය ඒ සම්බන්ධ ඉදිරි ක්‍රියාවලිය මොකක්ද?
Once they are done, the monetary board will consider it. It has decided that it will seek the advice of the Attorney General as to what the next step should be. Whether it's published or not, a lot of it will depend on the advice of the Attorney General.
Will the full details of the bond scam ever be revealed? Well, the general public have an absolute right to find out what is contained in the forensic audits. The information contained in the forensic audits which has been obtained or which will be obtained after spending vast sums of money is the public's money, Therefore, the public have an inalienable right to the information contained in the forensic audits, and that information must be released prior to the holding of the presidential election on the 16th of November. It's no good trying to release it thereafter, because that only means that somebody somewhere is hiding behind the information contained in the forensic audits.
Now, taking a look at the international arena, Turkey has launched Operation Peace Spring with the objective of ensuring Turkey's border security, neutralizing terrorists in the region, saving Syrians from the tyranny of these terrorist threats, and facilitating safe and voluntary returns of displaced Syrians.
Issuing a media release regarding Operation Peace Spring, the Turkish embassy in Colombo said Turkey has always remained steadfastly committed to fighting terrorism in all its forms and manifestations emerging from the Syrian conflict. The embassy added that other terror groups still continue to emerge as a threat to the Turkish border in the northeast of Syria by harassing the Turkish border posts using advanced weaponry, and that talks with the United States to create a safe zone within the northeastern part of Syria along the Turkey-Syria border remained inconclusive. As a result, Turkey launched Operation Peace Spring on the 9th of October 2019 with the objective of ensuring Turkey's border security, neutralizing terrorists in the region and ensuring safety of the locals.
Onto a trending international story now. An Iranian oil tanker in the Red Sea was hit by two suspected rockets off the coast of Saudi Arabia, raising fears of further escalation in the already volatile Gulf region.
The national Iranian tanker company said in a statement that the hull of the ship sustained two separate explosions about 100 kilometers off the Saudi port city of Jeddah. It said the blasts, one at 5 a.m. local time and the other at 5:30 a.m. local time, were probably caused by missile strikes. Leaking oil has been stopped, but it restarted once the vessel began to move again. Iran's foreign minister confirmed the tanker was hit twice. The state-owned media said, contrary to reports, there is no fire aboard the ship and the ship is completely stable. Iranian media reported that experts believe it was a terrorist attack. There was no immediate acknowledgement from Saudi Arabia about the blasts.
The 2019 Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed.
The Norwegian
He was awarded the prize for his. Under him, several women have also been appointed to prominent positions.
Still in international news, Alexei Leonov, a Soviet-era cosmonaut who was the first man to conduct a spacewalk in 1965, passed away in Moscow today at the age of 85 after a long illness.
The Russian space agency Roscosmos said it was saddened to announce the death of cosmonaut number 11, who was twice decorated with the country's top honor, the hero of the Soviet Union. Leonov was a close friend of Yuri Gagarin, the first human to go to outer space in 1961. Leonov trained together with Gagarin and was selected to perform the first spacewalk as the Soviet Union and United States, Cold War foes on Earth, were locked in a frantic race to conquer space. In 1965, Leonov made history when he left a spacecraft during the Voskhod 2 mission for a spacewalk that lasted 12 minutes and 9 seconds. Officials said he will be laid to rest at a memorial cemetery just outside Moscow on Tuesday.
And that's a wrap of your primetime news.
Take care and have yourself a great and a safe Friday night.